What is mass? In physics, mass is the most basic property of matter, and it is one of the fundamental quantities. Mass is defined as the amount of matter present in a body. The SI unit of mass is the kilogram. The formula of mass can be written as mass equal to density times volume. A volume is simply defined as the amount of space occupied by any three-dimensional solid. Different shapes have a different volume. In 3D geometry, we have studied the various shapes and solids such as cube, cuboid, cylinder, cones, and other things. They are defined in three dimensions. For all these shapes, we are going to learn to find the volume.
So, the unit of mass began as a comparison between the matter of an item compared to common wheat called a grain, and evolved to include stones that were made to represent specific numbers of grain. Thus, many following methods involve the use of a baseline numbers of grains, such as the Avogadro system that had a pound consisting of 7,000 grains divided into 16 ounces, where each ounce consisted of 16 drams. As trade became more popular, larger measures were needed, so the stone came about, which was the equivalent of 14 Avogadro pounds. Then the kilogram came to be shortly after, once the temperature was decided to be 4 degrees Celsius and the volume to be 1 cubic decimeter. The unit of volume began as a way to standardize trade through the use of similar-sized baskets, sacks, and pots.
Mass measuring device is to measure the amount of matter in an substance or an object. Basically, the metric system of measurement uses the mass unit presented in gram, kilogram, and ton. Measuring device to measure the volume of a liquid or an object is usually measured by using glassware and lab setting, which come in wide variety of size and shape. Some of the most common pieces of glassware used to measure liquid, which are beaker, graduated cylinder, volumetric flask, burette, pipettes, and more. So, volume measuring device measure the amounts of space that a substance or an object that take up, and normally presented in SI unit of cubic unit. The SI unit of volume is the cubic metric, which is derived unit, and liter is a special name for the cubic decimeter, dm cube.
One notch at a time. If you move the slider too far, return it one notch to the left and switch to the 10-gram slider. Be sure when moving the sliders to move them one notch at a time, not in between numbers, but on top of the numbers. You can use this slider to get the exact mass of the object. To figure out the mass of the object, add all three sliders, 100, 40, and 2.5. The mass of our object is 142.5 grams.
We use the metric system in our daily lives in many ways. Let us look at some everyday examples of the metric system. Water in the tank or a liquid in the container is measured in liters. It is the metric unit of volume. Next, when we travel in a vehicle, we measure the distance traveled in meters or kilometers. Next example is when we buy groceries, they are measured in weight units as grams and kilograms. The US system measures length or distance in inches, feet, yards, and miles. Next, for capacity or volume in fluid, ounces, cups, pints, quarts, or gallons. And lastly, weight or mass in ounces, pounds, and tons.
Fill the measuring jar with water up to a level and then place a marble inside it. the level of water rises a little. This is due to the space occupied by the marble, and this space is called the volume of the marble. In a similar manner, the volume of several objects can be found. For example, volume of a cube is equal to A into A into A, which is equal to A cube.